chaos, confusion, exhaustion. These are the things that happen when you stretch yourself too thin for too long. This episode of Horrible Writing.
That will never work. You can't publish that. Seriously?
Don't.
Oh my God, that's another thing you do. That's bad. You probably should find other hobbies. You ever learn how to stop? Stop. Be happy. Quit while you're in Don't bother. I've seen better papers. Do you really want to? And my third grade. Get up.
Welcome to Horrible Writing, the rawest, most candid, in-your-face writing show on the interwebs because none of us have time to suck. Let's do this. Hey, welcome to episode 29 of Horrible Writing. Get back in your hole. I am Paul Sading, your host. Sometimes extraordinaire. Not really feeling it lately, not going to lie, can't lie. I'm looking at a camera for the first time ever. So, hey, welcome to all of you who will be viewing this video. It will be exclusive to my patrons, those who patron all of my audio dramas like Subject Found, Who Killed Julie, Diary of a Madman, and Atheist Apocalypse. Not only do you get 4 audio dramas, exclusive access, 2 stories a month, and early access to this podcast. But now those of you at the $10 level also will get video of this so you can see how much of a goofball I am. In the future, I plan on doing some other things, and I will change those reward levels on Patreon to adjust, to accommodate those changes once I figure out how to do it. There's a couple things I've got to do to meet that goal. But I'm not here to talk about that in episode 29. I'm actually here to talk about something that I recently did. So, if you're a long-time listener, you'll know this, and you'll know the backstory. So bear with me for a second as I tell any new-time listener, or any first-time listeners that I do have to the show. If you're new, hey, welcome. Thank you for giving this a chance. This is one know-nothing's digital journey towards hopefully being a published author someday. Now, those of you who have been around for a while, you know that I've had 4 books written for a while. You also know that before Christmas, more towards Thanksgiving, actually before Thanksgiving, I handed off my first of the 4, I hope, manuscripts to my editor. Gave up some real sweet chump change. Ooh, that was painful. And heard back from him about, I don't know, let's just say 2 months later. Very reasonable, well within the expected time frame that he was going to return my edits to me. And now I'm buckling down trying to get to work. But it's difficult because I've got so many things going on. During that time frame, I had a fellow podcaster who wanted an idea for a Christmas special. I gave him an idea. He didn't want it because he wanted to go lighter and more cheerful than what my idea presented. So I did what all good creatives do. I turned it into a novel. And between December 9th and the beginning of the new year, I wrote an entire novel of 12 short stories. It's a horror anthology. And I'm going to be getting that out for the holiday season this year. Having never published anything before, I'm in panic mode trying to get this done and ready to hand back to him to edit, to get those back, to improve the product, get the cover art, all of these things that one has to do in order to pull these things off successfully. So, with that background, that's where I'm at. Now, I have been struggling for a while about prioritizing my writing. My writing is always a priority. If you've been listening from the first episode, you know that my writing time, my mornings are sacred. And unless it's an emergency, it better be a damn good emergency. But unless it's an emergency, We don't interrupt my time. The family knows it, and they're wonderfully supportive. They really are. They respect that, and they support me so many ways. I don't think as creatives we could do these things if our loved ones didn't support us like that. So I'm very protective about it with everyone except me. And recently, I've been not hemming and hawing anymore. I've been listening to my intuition. I've been absorbing contextual clues and content and indicators. I've been analyzing, and I've really struggled with where I've positioned myself, to the point where I took my struggle to someone else, a writing mentor. You all heard her a few episodes ago, Susan K. Quinn. She came on and she talked about meditation and provided some great tips, tools, tactics, life skills to help us keep our balance. And that's one of her messages that has always resonated with me. Always. Since I started, when I joined her For Love or Money Facebook group, which is now defunct, but back in the day, it was a very, very helpful resource for me. It led me to her books, her nonfiction books, all of which I have. And she's no nonsense, and I need no nonsense people in my life. I don't like beating around the bush. I love being pleasant with people, but I don't want people to just serve up pleasantries just for the sake of serving up pleasantries. We have to have an end state. There's a goal to achieve. My goal is to be published. Ideally, I would like all 4 of these books, by this time next year. My aim is to have 2 of them published, the other 2 very close to being published. I'm not playing around. This is what I want. So I reached out to her because I've been struggling with this analysis for so long, and she's an absolutely wonderful person, but she was kind enough to take some serious time and help me walk through the forest to which I was blind to. Self-induced. I am the one who strapped the blinders on. It wasn't even blinders. It was one of those very nice sleeping masks. I put the sleeping mask on. I thought that building an audio drama following would translate over into books once I started getting there. What I have found is that it may or may not, because no one's doing it and no one's studying it. There's no legitimate study being done about that market, about that translation. Will audio drama fans move over to buying books? People who get stuff for free, can you reasonably expect them to open the billfold and buy books when you have them? Nobody's looked at it, so nobody has the answer. I don't have the answer. But what I do have an answer to, only because of Susan's guidance and mentorship and friendship and time, was I do have an indication of where I want to go. I want to be a published writer. I want books out there. Again, you all know, proud founding member of the 458 Club. I know some of you have joined me in that, and that is awesome. Absolutely love hearing it, including other writers and authors of whom have been on this show before, so it's really cool to hear. Doing that day in and day out. I write 7 days a week, but those 458 mornings are all week long. On the weekends, I sleep in until my body wakes up, which is usually a little after 7 o'clock in the morning. But to do that day in and day out, roughly about 100 hours goes into one episode of one audio drama. I've got 4. It's a lot of time for something that is free. Most writers, most authors, they will publish a novella, maybe an anthology, maybe a first book in a series, and they'll put that out there for free into the world to try to find readership. Audio drama, at least the way I do it, is you just keep going. You keep producing and hope that, the tide will rise with you. So I've been feeling this tug that I'm investing way too heavily in audio drama. And I kind of, you know how it is, I kind of needed someone else to tell me, hey, dummy, you're investing way too much in audio drama. And that's, in a roundabout way, that's what Susan did for me. She wanted to understand what my goals were, what I hoped to achieve 1, 5, 10 years out. And then she helped me problem solve. Well, she helped me see what I was already telling myself and emotionally rationalizing. And then she helped me see how I can get there. And I was able to put some of that into practice recently. I don't have enough time to work on these books as it is to get them out. Like I said, I'm still editing this horror anthology that I came up with in December because of the timeline. That means that book that I spent a lot of money on to get edited is still sitting on my hard drive, untouched. I have not gone back and started working those edits. I've read them, and I like what Brian, my editor, has guided me towards, but I haven't worked on it because the suspense date, the deadline for this horror anthology is much closer. There is no deadline on that other book, Chasing the Demon, that you see here. Thank you, Kessie. Awesome artist. I had to make a tough decision. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that needed to be made. You all heard in episode 25, if you listened, that it's okay to be you. That I had an epiphany, I had a realization. Sometimes you have to just be in the moment to get it. But going to a podcast conference last year helped me see at least what the voracious market demands. And what the voracious market demands, the Twitter presence, the Tumblr presence, the Reddit presence, those people who will spend money to go to conferences, what they want is not what I'm going to give them. I am not a writer of the weird just for the sake of being weird. I'm not going to chase trends anytime soon. And even if I do chase trends, it'll be in my own style and my own fashion. And I'm not exactly the most fashionable person, as you can tell. So I'm not going to have those things. And I don't necessarily want to. I want to write my stories. That's what I love doing. That's what I want to do. And I want to find people who enjoy the things that I write. I don't want to write the things people enjoy and have me find them. That's not the way I want to do this. You know, kudos to folks who do that and maybe even make a living at it. I just can't do it. Maybe someday I'll get desperate enough to. Not right now. That experience was the second to last epiphany that I had about all of this. I realized that I'm swimming against a tide by staying in audio drama as deeply as I am for what my goals are. Okay, so this is just particular to me. It may be different to you. And if you're an audio dramatist listening to this, it may be very different to you, and that's okay. But for me and my goals, I'm just, and what I'm doing for audio dramas, I'm just way too invested in this medium. Listening to Susan's advice, I made a decision to withdraw myself from a particular organization in a capacity that I was in. It was very difficult because I am very passionate about this organization. It's my baby. I created it, and I believe in its vision. But the vision was costing me. The organization was costing me. Now, again, this is something I created. This is something that I plant the flag in the battlefield, you know, while the warriors surround me as we get ready to head off, charge down our enemies. It still is very important to me. But it's getting in the way of writing. There's a lot of management, administrative, leadership things that I was having to do that were taking time, chunks of time. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, an hour there, 2 hours, multiple conversations over and over and over again. And each one of those adds up. And every single time I stop my writing clock to go address that stuff, I'm not getting closer to being published. Now, some of you who've listened for a while may be saying, yeah, Paul, we get that. You've had this conversation before. And you're right, I have. I've had this conversation on air and off air quite a lot. But it's important, I feel I owe it to my audience to document this progression. If it helps one person, one other writer, then I've done what I set out to do with this show. They may not have some of the audio drama things that I have. They may not have an organization that they created from the ground up and that they're emotionally invested in. But they may have something like that to them, to you, and that's who I'm speaking to. I'm this serious about getting published that this week I stepped down not only as de facto leader of this organization, but in any official capacity whatsoever. It was not easy to do. I felt like I was letting people down. I felt like I was disappointing them. I felt like I wasn't following through on commitments and obligations because there were many things in the works. But that's the kicker. There's always been many things in the works. There will always be many things in the works. If I waited for the day to come that there was nothing going on where I could walk away guilt-free, my conscience clear, that day would never come, and my writing would be slowed down. I'm preserving my creative time. I'm staying focused on my goal, and I'm doing it at an emotional cost. Now, I'm sure all of the people that I feel I let down will support me, and they will understand. I don't doubt that for a second. I'm sure up here, in that space between my ears, that sometime soon I'll be okay with what I did. Right now I'm not, because it's very recent. But I'm sure, okay, someday I'll be all right with what I did. Because again, it's about meeting those goals and removing things that are barriers to your goals. So you, dear listener of Horrible Writing, what stands in your way? What is stopping you? And how much of it, I'm going to ask you a hard question, but how much of it is you standing in your own way? What are you rationalizing? What are you looking past, pretending you don't see? What excuses are you making up for yourself to make you feel better about not doing the things you know you need to do? It's going to require a lot of heartache, a lot of thinking, a lot of analyzing, reanalyzing, analysis of the analysis, testing things out. Baby steps. This whole thing is baby steps. But whatever your writing goal is, take a hard look at it and try to figure out what's slowing you down. It doesn't even have to be stopping you. This thing that I'm talking about was not stopping me, but it's been a serious, significant hindrance to my forward progress. I'm still running forward, but it's like those football films. You know, I got the band around my waist and I'm towing that, tractor tire behind me. I'm not running as fast as I could be. It's time to sprint. So that's my comments for this episode. That's my horrible writing experience. It wasn't fun, but to stay true to this show, I'm sharing it with you, hoping that it helps 1,000, 1 million of you out there. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating and review. Those things make a world of difference, and I really could kind of use some. It would be great to see you, fellow writers, taking a little bit of time, go out there on your favorite podcatcher and or Apple Podcasts and leaving that rating and review. It would help out so much. If you like the show and you want to check out my audio dramas, just go over to paulsading.com and you can see everything over there, and it has all my contact information. You can find me on Twitter at Paul Sading. There's a contact tab if you want to write me something, if you want to be on the show. If you've published something and you want to talk about a life struggle, a life skill set that you've used, soft skills, something that you're dealing with. Next episode, we're going to be talking about being bipolar and how it impacts writing. So reach out to me and I'd love to bring you on air. Otherwise, until that time comes and we get to hear each other again, keep being epic. This has been Horrible Writing, and hopefully after this episode, you suck less than you did at the beginning. I am Paul Sading, your host extraordinaire. You can find me over on the Twitterverse @WritingHorrible and over at paulsading.com/horrible-writing. Until next time, suck less.